as times change, and especially now with the growth of Amazon,
yes,
this whole media agency versus Google, Facebook, and the enemy-frenemy argument is getting crazier and crazier. So where are you now? Where do you see yourself now? And where do marketers see you?
Well, I've tried to spend my life not making any enemies and lots of friends.
Right.
And my sense is that what we try and do as a media agency is work with our clients to create a view of the truth of what success means for that company. So we look at their...
So you've got a GroupM truth, you've got a Facebook truth, you've got a Google truth. All these truths exist.
Well, but I guess the difference is that if Facebook has a truth and Google has a truth and they're not the same, then the only thing you know for sure is that neither of them are the truth.
Right.
Or one of them is wrong. That's the other possibility.
Sure.
And whilst Google has astonishing visibility into human behavior through the signals that it receives through its ecosystem, and Facebook has a different set of terrific signals, they don't get a very good match set across both those. So, Facebook doesn't see much search intent data.
Right.
Google doesn't see much social interaction. Facebook doesn't see much user pull consumption of video that Google does. Facebook doesn't see location and travel information in quite the same way that Google does. So they're very different. So what we try and do is look in combination through, as everyone would tell you, through testing and learning. We try and put data together for our clients that says, this is how we quantify the target group, and we quantify it in terms of its economic capability, in its willingness to act, in its needs, in its location, and so forth. And we take those parcels of data, and I guess for want of a better expression, we toss them over the garden walls of the big walled gardens and look at what the impact on brand measures and sales measures has on those. Even though we recognize that much of the optimization will take place within the Facebook platform and within the Google platform, in which we play a part, but not the whole of it, because we can't process optimizations in transactions at the same speed that they can. And what they're doing is operating an extraordinarily sophisticated yield management program, taking in thousands of advertisers or even millions of advertisers and many millions of ad units, and matching those as well as the data allows with impressions to maximize the yield, which gives them the quality score. And in order to succeed, what we have to learn from that is how do we increase our relevance in those auction-based environments and even reserve-based environments to take advantage. Now, the role that we play as GroupM and continue to play has changed. So historically, it was about leveraging the biggest stick. And the biggest stick was money, always. The big stick now is experience and information. So we have visibility across categories, across brands within categories. We have visibility within and across audiences, and we have visibility across the world. So we see the results and the inputs from many, many, many different use cases. And we can also see which kinds of communication require what kind of mix, not only between Facebook, Google, and television, but within Facebook, between different ad units in the Facebook universe, between Facebook and Instagram, and then between Google AdWords, between Google AdSense and YouTube. And we try and extend that experience across the portfolio of all of the media opportunities. So we are still in the business, ultimately, on a cross-channel basis of allocation, which we've always done, of optimization of those numbers, and of attribution of success. And it's our sense that with the right proximity to clients, that we will understand what their goals and how they understand their relationships with Facebook, Google, and Amazon, as well as they do. And whilst Google will have a very intimate relationship with their clients, who are the same as our clients, and Facebook will too, will be the ones that people come to when they're looking at striking the balance between the two, and not just the balance between the two, but where does Amazon fit, where does Hotstar fit, where does Viacom fit, where does Times of India fit in the same
a few more
set of
Indian brands you
calculations.
could name.
Sorry?
You could name a few more Indian brands, I said. While we're at
Okay,
it.
well, as you know, I'm a little bit of a student of Indian brands.
Absolutely.
I think one of the big challenges for the market, though, more broadly, and the media markets overall, is that we're seeing a very interesting wave of consolidation that's starting here. And we've seen it over the years in the packaged goods business as they've play Pac-Man and get bigger and bigger and then sometimes divest things. But we're now seeing it in some big growth categories. So we have the Vodafone Idea merger, we have the conversation that's going on between Aircel and Reliance, and who knows where that will go. It strikes me they're arguing about the price, and I think there may be some conflict between what founders think and what investors think on one side of that equation. And if you get the consolidation, the only thing you know for sure, if you're in the media business, is if two businesses that are direct competitors in the same category merge, then in terms of budgets and what they'll spend, 1 + 1 = 1.5.
Right.
Not 2.5.
Absolutely.
And that's an interesting challenge. And so what we need overall, and I think we need in the Indian economy, as well as in the advertising economy, because they live and die together, of course, is we need, as Martin would say, a return to innovation, because the market has ridden the wave of the growth of the telephony sector, of the IT sector, and the e-commerce sector over the last decade. And if that now suffers from a big burst of consolidation, we have to wait and see what the next raft is. And what we're hopeful of is that there are a bunch of businesses that have built their businesses as capital light, online dominated businesses who have focused their advertising attention within the environments of Google and Facebook, who now have reached the ceiling of the addressable audience in those media, who now need to build a broader franchise in broader media in order to build a new pool.
Which brings me to something Unity was speaking about continuously, and so is Martin. Long-termism was a short-termism.
Yes.
Are we going to see that being forced, for example, to get out of the Google, Facebook and come to mass media because you've hit your ceiling? It's a long-term, short-term kind of view. As long as you keep seeing short-term, you'll keep being happy with what you get from a Google or Facebook.
So one of the metrics that most advertisers are paying enormous amounts of attention to, almost in the last 6 months, more than they have in the previous 5 years, is what their underlying brand equity is in different areas. It would be terrifying for P&G if people knew less, thought less, or cared less about Pampers than they did a year or 5 years ago. It would be terrifying for Colgate if people thought less, cared less about Colgate Total than they did a number of years ago, because it's vitally important to them that that equity remains the same. So one of the challenges they're now facing is what's the right media mix that on the one hand makes the quarter, because that's still going to be important, because no CEO likes going to the street with bad numbers, but just as importantly, what's going to happen in 4 quarters or 6 quarters down the track, because at the CEO level in organizations, the importance of what this brand and corporation means over time is extremely important. The other thing they're going to have to wrestle with, and are starting to wrestle with, is the whole area of research and development. Because the other thing that the advertising business thrives on, of course, is new products coming to market. Because new products come to market and they succeed when people know what they are. No one ever bought anything without knowing what it was. No one ever bought anything without knowing it had meaning and relevance to their purpose. So one of the challenges that we've seen is that the rate of research and development and new product launches has actually declined or slowed down quite a lot across many big categories. And a number of businesses are making their R&D off their balance sheets rather than their P&L. So they found a new way of doing R&D. You let a startup somewhere make whatever it is, or invent a business model that you're not in, and once you see some positive momentum, you then try and find the right moment that you can acquire that business, and you acquire that business either to rejigger the business model somewhere else or to take something that operates in a single market and stretch it around the world. So increasingly, I think what you see with businesses like L'Oreal, with Unilever, and you think of Unilever in the last 4 or 5 years, they bought Ben & Jerry's and Talenti, both niche ice cream brands, and Ben & Jerry's is now a huge brand and Talenti is growing. They bought Dollar Shave, as you know, and they bought Seventh Generation, an eco-friendly detergent and housewares company in the US. And so they're now looking at themselves as platform businesses.
Right.
So they're saying, what are we expert in? We have great consumer knowledge, of course. We have great distribution infrastructure, of course. We have great sourcing, of course. But what we've got is therefore a marketing platform. And if we can find goods and services that can sit on our platform and be scaled on a global basis, that's a different pathway to R&D,
sure,
if you like, than the one that happened before. And we're seeing this across a number of our clients. So Nestle recently invested in Freshly, meals delivery service in the US, and these are going to happen more and more and more.
Cheers. Good to
Pleasure.
see you, Rob.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.